Hi everyone, this is Mr. Neil Reiteter, also known as the Wax Whisperer. Thank you for tuning in to my latest video. This is a very interesting case. The gentleman attended yesterday. He had been using a pencil to try and clean his ear. So on the right side he used a sharp end, and you will see that coming up in the moment. You'll see the indentation. There we are. You can see right in the middle of the wax, the sharp bit of the pencil. So the pencil lead had gone right in. Unfortunately here, it's pretty straightforward. I was able to remove this with the Jobson horn. Inserted it in the roof of the ear canal. There's a bit of an opening there, and the wax plug came out in one big piece. So that was nice and easy, literally a matter of seconds. The left ear, however, was a lot more complex, and this was the gentleman's problem ear. He advised me that he just has a tendency of poking stuff in his ears, and he apologised for it, but he says, I just can't help it. This side, he used the opposite end of pencil, he said, so the part with the rubber. And you probably saw the indentation. There was a lot, it wasn't as sharp and narrow, funneled. It was more circular, rounded, more like a Q-tip. The patient had advised me that he actually was referred to ENT last year. He doesn't believe he saw an ENT specialist. I'm not sure who he saw, but it doesn't sound like he saw an ENT consultant. But they tried to, whoever it was at the ENT clinic, maybe a registrar or a trainee nurse, said they were quite young, and he felt they were inexperienced, but they were poking and prodding in the ear, and they made it so uncomfortable that he had to stop the procedure, and he left, and he's just lived with it since. So that's a year's impaction that we're dealing with today, plus the fact he's since also used the wrong end of a pencil. The ear was slightly inflamed. It was much more narrower as a result than the right ear is, and this wax is lodged. So you have two bends in the ear. You have the first bend, which is probably around ½ centimetre into the ear canal. And then you have the second bend. The second bend is where the bony part of the ear canal and the cartilage part of the ear canal kind of merge. It's a juncture between the two. Probably between 1 and 1½ centimetres in the ear canal. And then about ½ centimetre near to the eardrum, you have what we call the isthmus, which is a natural narrowing of the ear canal, and it widens out. So the last ½ centimetre beyond the isthmus, the ear canal protrudes outwards, and this wax is lodged from the second bend right up to the eardrum. And I can only describe the consistency of wax similar to chewing gum. It's the most difficult type of wax to remove. You've got all these dead skin adhesions around the edge, and you saw right at the beginning of the procedure I used a Jobson horn just like I did for the right ear. So I thought, well, it worked for the right ear, let's do it for the left. It just didn't do anything. It's too impacted, and you can visibly see how much further in the wax plug is, the wax and skin plug should I say, into the ear compared to the right. And you can probably just tell by the anatomy it's a lot more bendy and twisty this is. You can see the camera's looking straight ahead, and there's a bend to the left around 45 degrees, so that's the second bend. And what I'm trying to do here is just loosen it. So one of the great things about an endoscope is that even if the ear is bendy and twisty, once you've developed the skill and know-how, the mastery of an endoscope, nothing's impossible. You can navigate around narrow, twisty ear canals. I've got a fantastic video that just of a young girl that I treated today, semi-treated actually. She had an extremely narrow ear canal, very heavily inflamed. You can just see how, with that particular video, how deep we can go into the ear, even if it's really, really narrow. So it's a great video. We'll try and upload that tomorrow. We didn't fully succeed, but we did far more than what we thought. And the mum was actually watching. She was over my shoulder. She was sat. She was heavily impressed. It was a great video. Patient felt a lot better, but I'll say that for tomorrow. So again, we'll just persevere with a suction probe here. I think I'm gonna go. You can still see the indentation there, right in the middle, just there. And that's not the indentation of the suction probe. That was there right from the beginning, and that was the rubber. So with a pencil, obviously, you have the lead end I'm sorry guys, I'm just yawning. It's been a busy week. I was yawning yesterday as well when I was narrating the video. I do apologise. So yeah, so on the right side, let me just remind viewers, he was using the pencil lead, the sharp end, what you actually write with. Into the right, you could see the sharpness in the intention. It was quite scary watching back. And on this end, he used the opposite side, he used the rubber. So obviously most pencils, lead pencils have the ones that you sharpen anyway, have the rubber at the back. You can just see how sticky this wax is. It's just horrible. It's like clay. Like chewing gum. That's the best way I can describe it. It's stuck. It's literally stuck to the eardrum and the ear canal. Hence why we're trying to loosen it around the ear canal walls. You can see some dead keratin the bottom of the plug there against the canal wall. You can just see it, the white layer, which I'm just going on to now, just trying to lift this. And you'll see, as we eventually do clean the ear out, and you'll see, once I remove this layer, there was a big impaction of wax on the eardrum. You can actually see it being stuck on the drum. So I'm just going with an ear hook. Again, I've managed to safely navigate into the wax, although we're very deep in the ear. So the inner 2/3 of the ear canal is a thin layer of skin or bone. It's very sensitive. You have to be careful not to make contact with the canal bone. That game operation, if you touch the sides, you get an electric shock, you get a buzzer on the game. Not a shock, you get a buzzer on the game. Same like that with the ear. We want to really avoid it. So the ear hook just sliced through. Went back in with a Zondo suction probe again, didn't really do much. So I've managed somehow to get this Jobson horn really deep into the ear. I'm trying to prise this out, so I'm getting a bit, but not a lot. It's not coming out like the first ear, because this is much more impacted. Again, just going in, just gently inserting the Jobson horn into the wax. I've got to be careful I don't go too far down, because we'll make contact with the bony part of the ear canal. That'd be very painful, but graze it and bruise it. And that's when you need to know your ear anatomy a bit, well, a lot, sorry, so you know what you're doing in the ear. So we're making some progress. We've got into the ear a bit more. I'm just going for this top bit, so you can see there's a lot of dead keratin here, sticky wax on the roof of the canal. I'm just hoping to lift this down. If I bring this down, it gives me a chance. And you can see it's round the bend. So if you remember this part of the ear canal, if I just look straight into the ear canal, this veers off to the left at a 45-degree angle. So I'm manipulating the endoscope to get the view. Just tugging away at the roof of the ear canal. It's coming forward slowly but surely. And the patient left a wonderful review. If you go to my Google page, if you're on Google and you search the Here Clinic, so here with an H, so THEHEAR Clinic, and you go to reviews, left a lovely review yesterday. It was just amazing, his reaction. It feels like he's been born again. That was the exact words. I feel like I've been born again. I can hear. So this wax has made his life miserable. He thought he almost had to live with it for the rest of his life. He had such a bad experience, he said, at ENT. And then he obviously came across my YouTube channel, and I think some family members of his also came. So I've managed to remove the dead keratin from the roof of the ear canal. Now we're back at the base, and I can see I've lifted it off the canal wall, and just behind that you can see the eardrum, and there was some dead keratin and wax impacted directly onto the eardrum. So I'm just trying to wriggle this out, and you can see the ear canal narrows here. So what you can see here, I'm coming a bit further away from with the endoscope, and the ear canal narrows. So we have to wriggle this through a narrow gap in the ear canal, and that'll be more obvious in a moment. So what I'm going to do in a moment is just put some more drops in to lubricate the wax that's stuck on the eardrum. And when I extract it, you'll see it gets lodged. But before that, I'm just going to use an ear hook. So there's a bit, again, we just have to be so careful. We're so deep in the ear now, and I just want to avoid touching the ear canals. I'm just trying to see if I can navigate it through. There's a bit of a gap there, so I've got it into the plug, trying to pull it out, and again it's just dissected it. I'm just going to try that again. I'm just I'm just trying to really pull it through, but just cuts through it like a hot knife through butter. So back in with the suction probe, just trying to wriggle this loose, bringing it through the narrowing of the ear canal. So you can see, if you can see in that gap, this is, you can see the eardrum. It's slightly tingy blue at the top, and you can see a piece of wax that's lodged against the eardrum. Don't know if you can see that, guys. So forget about the plug that I'm working on at the moment. Just to the right, superiorly to the top, you can see the blue tinge of the eardrum, and then below that you can see the wax plug. This, you can see I'm trying to zoom in. So the top part's blue, that's the eardrum, and then you can see the wax is stuck to it lower down. At this stage, the patient's symptoms were significantly improved. It was really over the moon, so you can at least hear again, but I wanted to get all this out. So I've just changed the angle of the ear hook there, so it's very difficult to do, but I was trying to hook it underneath, but you just weren't able to do that, because as I was going further in with the ear hook, with that orientation, the handle was touching the side of the ear canal. You wouldn't have seen it as like where I was holding it, and it wouldn't let me go further through. Just because the client's ear canal was twisty. Remember, these instruments are straight and they haven't got a bend, so we're having to use a straight instrument and navigate it into a bendy ear. So again, just putting some sodium bicarbonate. So this is the second time we put drops in, and I put it on each occasion for 5 minutes. I really let it soak. So this patient's been here for 10 minutes with drops. It's really softened it now. So this is the first plug. It's really softened to the point it's suctioned up the tube. So bringing this through, and this is the narrowing that I mentioned earlier. So I've got it off the eardrum, but I'm trying to wriggle it through this narrowing. So this narrowing is the second bend, it's midpoint of the ear canal. Managed to wriggle it through. And there's the eardrum. Completely clear, very healthy, well, a bit red, a bit inflamed because of the lodged wax. There's the remnants, so 386 milligrams. I hope you enjoyed that video, guys. So the moral of the story is, don't poke in your ears using a pencil, the sharp end or the rubber end. In fact, don't poke in your ears full stop. It's just going to impact wax further in and cause more issues long term. Have a great evening, guys, and a great weekend, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.